No.
Never.
I'll be as brief as possible today. As you guys are all aware at this point, we're coming up to the end of our permit cycle. It expires June 30th, so 10 days left to accomplish what's required this year. You can see our maps in front of you. We spoke about this briefly at the last meeting, but basically we prepared updates to the stormwater system and the MS-4 outfall location maps. Those are up here. I'm going to leave those behind in the meeting room tonight for anybody to take a look at. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Folks in our office did the storm drain stenciling down in El Rema. If you live down there, you might have seen them. We put stencils down right beside some of the catch basins on Circle Avenue, El Rema Avenue, Fairview Street, and Davidson Avenue, parts of that. Other educational updates, we sent out our mailer, which is our annual distribution to everybody on the target audience list. There's a copy of this in your board packet tonight. It looks like this, sent out on the township's letterhead. Some of you may have received it already. That's an annual requirement that our office took care of on the township's behalf. We also sent our updates for the stormwater management website, the township stormwater tab on their website. Every year you're supposed to update the content on that website. So we've provided that. I talked to Michelle about that yesterday, and we're going to get that done in the next 10 days. So I think when Diana gets back, right?
Yeah, Diana just has to give me some training on that website.
Perfect.
All I know how to do is post an agenda for Harold or whatever, so I don't want to mess up all her hard work.
Great. Last thing for the stormwater management program portion of this, we did our employee training yesterday with the road crew. So Albert, Ron, and Frank participated in that, along with supervisors Wilson, Spar, and Dupree. It was great that they participated. They certainly didn't have to. It's a requirement every year that you hold training for your employees. So the fact that supervisors participated as well was appreciated, certainly. So I'm going to pivot quickly to the pollution reduction plan, which is this document, which is included in your packets today. It's 22 pages. I would encourage you to read it when you can. There's an important distinction to make here. All of the administrative type of responsibilities for our MS-4 program, the public outreach, all the mailers, the stenciling, the field work, the inspections, everything that we do for the minimum control measures, that's part of the stormwater management program. This document is the pollution reduction plan, which is a tangible reduction in, or improvement, I should say, in overall water quality. So if you look in section C of this, I'm not going to read it to you, but the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection has gone through and identified certain receiving waters in the township which are impaired for one reason or another, mainly total sediment, total nitrogen, total phosphorus. So the previous engineer put this plan together in 2019. It was reviewed by PADEP and approved that same year with the permit. The MS-4 permit runs on a 5-year term. So it was approved in June of 2019, which means it's going to be set to expire June of 2024, which leaves us one more year to satisfy not only the stormwater program parts of it that we've talked about in great detail, but also this component of it, the pollution reduction plan. So the Harshman Group put together this plan, and in there they identified certain catch basins, certain inlets in township roadways where they have suggested that the township install what's called inlet filtration. It's basically just a physical barrier, an inlet filter bag, something along those lines, that would get placed inside the catch basin so that when it rains, water flows off the street, it flows into the catch basin, it hits this barrier, and I see I'm boring people. We're losing the room. It flows through and
I'm listening.
Somebody can come behind them and measure how much sediment has been removed from that catch basin. So each year, Union Township is required to reduce 10% of the total sediment from certain sewer sheds that's part of their MS-4 system. So we delivered some maps to Albert today that identified the 9 different catch basins. I have some product literature, that's the other couple documents in your packet. These are a couple different options that we could look at installing in our catch basins in order to achieve this sediment reduction. But as I mentioned, this expires in 2024, and we have an obligation to remove 10% of total sediment. So I think we need to be thinking sooner than later about when we can get these installed and when we can start taking measurements of our sediment removal and proving to DEP that we've met our obligations for the MS-4 permit when we go to renew it next year. So I think that's all that I have on MS-4 today, Michelle. Hopefully that was quicker than usual, but does anybody have any questions for me regarding stormwater or what the township needs to be doing in the next year?
DJ, where we're dealing with certain parcels or multiple parcels within a district, and you have natural runoff.
Yes.
How's the township supposed to control that to get that 10% reduction?
So that's a good question, Larry. We're responsible for flow from land that we own only, basically. So we're not responsible for flow on private property. We're responsible for whatever flow enters into our catch basins from our road right of way and into the storm system that we own. That's our obligation. We don't have any removal
And how do you find
requirements.
storm system?
Storm system would be inlets, catch basins, drainage ditches that are within the public right of way.
And if you drain into a creek,
Then you'd have an outfall. We have 89 outfalls on our maps up here, which are
and
all
I'm seeing
spelled
people
out.
nowadays saying that you decrease the flow of water to the creek, and therefore you flood my property because of what you've done.
Depends on where the ownership ends. Some municipalities, the township's obligation ends at the road right of way, which means any of the storm sewer system installed then on private property becomes the obligation of that private property.
We have to talk.
Sure.
Okay, moving on.
Yep.
Don't wanna have that debate.
Thank you all.